be
Those
surprised
people?
if there wasn't
He
a
didn't say that.
anime or a manga. I can't even say it right.
Welcome to New Game Plus. This is a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name is Kenny.
Nolan.
And this is episode 492, and we are 8 episodes away from our 10th anniversary.
Getting nervous.
I feel like you just said anniversary funny. That's what my face was about. But we should have just moved on. Ignore my not ignoring you.
It's hard to ignore a face like that.
Got
The
him.
question of the week is, which celebrity guest would you like to have on an NGP episode?
I'm excited to hear y'all's answers.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'll,
this
Y'all
is a
went
funny question.
reasonable, right?
Yeah.
No, I went funny.
I mean, I went reasonable. So I was tempted to just play the numbers game. Literally go like, let's just get as many extra views as possible by just picking someone super big.
Oh,
In which
okay.
case, you go with just like a Taylor Swift or someone. I don't know. But
I don't know if she's still up there, but all right. Yeah,
But
Taylor, Kelsey, and Travis Smith, have them on together, and
Absolutely.
they
Stroke?
can.
He's stroked.
I'm not stroking.
Well, no, they're getting married. So yeah, that'd be numbers.
yeah.
Kenny. He's right.
We'll have them for the wedding. That's a great
sure,
idea.
no,
All right,
honeymoon,
Nolan,
even
what
better.
about you?
No, that wasn't my answer.
He's
I was
not
just saying
playing
that's
a
what I was
numbers
about
game.
to do. But instead, I'm going to go with I'd like to actually chat with them, and let's keep it a little bit topical and bring in somebody who we feel like can hold a conversation about video games, which kind of just leaves me, just because I don't know that many celebrities that are into video games, famous people, I guess. No, you did say celebrity. So that brings it down to like who? Henry Cavill and Keanu Reeves.
Elijah Wood.
Bro's
And-
naming all of them.
Yeah, maybe Elijah Wood. And so
Bro's just
we'll
naming
go
every-
we'll go with my boy Neo, mostly as a gift for Nolan.
Also
But he
my
has
answer.
to come as character.
I hate it when we get each other's answers.
Well, you
Well,
let
'cause
him
we
go
know each
first,
other.
Nolan.
Also, his name's not Neo.
I know, but
Then you say his name.
I had already said his name once, and so then I said it differently because we're professionals.
I don't know if we are.
Does he play video games? I said
He's in video games, and he does. He does.
Yeah, but
Both
I
are
don't even
true.
know if he knows he's in video games. I said his name because I want to meet him, not because I think it would be good conversation about video
You're not
games.
Yeah.
trying to benefit the podcast. You just want to meet him.
Of course. Yeah.
And
I
I'm
wanna have
seconding
him
that
on.
because I knew that was the case, and I've got your back.
And I think that I also like it kind of makes sense because I think that he is a celebrity, so that
You think
would
he is?
that would not think that this is beneath him and like be mean or short with us. Like I think he would just come on and be genuine.
I like that you think that. Don't meet your heroes. They won't be as
No, I
good as you
understand
think
that.
they are.
I never will meet him probably, but he's my Discord profile pic, so maybe.
But if you're out there, Mr. Tom Cruise, then reach
What?
out to us. That's who we're talking about, right?
That's another good answer. I
Good
love Tom
answer.
Cruise.
Good answer. Nolan, you just threw out one of mine. I don't know why you did it, but Elijah Wood is not only a gamer, and I don't know if you've seen the recent-ish headlines, but he's been stuck recently playing Blueprints a lot, Kenny, so we could have him on.
Just bring him on just so we can talk about blueprints and nothing
That's
else.
all?
Yeah.
You'd be more excited about that?
We'll kick Nolan off the episode. We'll bring him
No,
in.
I'm gonna be there if he's here. What the heck? I love Elijah Wood.
You got to talk about blueprints with us. You're behind the times.
I'll just be there. I'll just be a fly on the wall.
All right.
My real answer, Elijah Wood is a great answer, but the answer that I'm going to go with, however, are the Olsen twins.
Yeah, because
That's
we can
fun.
talk about their games specifically.
We can
Yeah.
we can play all 32 of their games and then talk to them about their
We have a lot in
movies, their
common with
games.
them, actually, if you think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
They're
played games that they're in.
they're twins, and I'm
We're
married
the-
to a twin.
Why didn't
Lore.
we know that? Why didn't your best friends know that?
I don't
First
know.
of all, second
You
of all,
should know.
we're the only people. Let me rephrase it. We're the only people that have played Magical Mystery Mole, so they would be like really appreciative of us. Don't you think?
Maybe
I don't know.
Also, I've seen
how
the
it
movies.
works.
Maybe they want to distance themselves from that era, you know? They went
I-
hard and then they stepped out of the entertainment in that form
I was
altogether.
gonna say, do we know if they're okay? I haven't seen or heard about them in like a decade.
Which
Kenny, ask
probably
your
means
wife.
it probably means they're okay, considering
Probably means they're
how
more than okay.
celebrityism
Yeah,
works. Yeah.
true.
Very true. Very true. Those are great answers. I wouldn't want us to invite someone too high profile. They might end up stealing all of our fans. Shoot, that didn't go over as well as I thought it would, and now I'm going to have to go and let off some steam. Like in our retro game of the week, Steel Empire.
Overview.
Steel Empire, otherwise known as the Steel Empire or Empire of Steel, first came out in 1992 for the Sega Genesis. However, that is not the version that we played this week. It's at least not the version we were supposed to play this week. We played the 2004 GBA release. It was developed by Hot B and published by Zoo Publishing. Hot B, I made a joke about it last week because, one, that's a name. Two, it doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Three, I assumed we didn't know about them. We do.
Kenny, do you know how we know them?
I mean, I've met a hot bee in my day.
Okay,
Nice.
I like
know?
that.
Hot B published one of the best games that we played on the podcast known as Basson's Black Bass featuring Hank Parker.
Is that the bee in Hot Bee? Hot
Bass.
Bass.
They
A
just made
piece of hot
fish
bass.
games. They published that one, right? Not
Yeah, they
developed
published
it.
that
So like, same but kind of not.
Yeah, connected, related to. So we could trust them through and through because
Yeah.
they gave us the greatest fishing game
We love that
of
game.
the 1900s. The
Of the
1900s.
1900s.
This game, Steel Empire, is not a fishing title. It is a side-scrolling shooter. It's a shmup. You are scrolling from generally the left to the right of the screen, and you're not a run-and-gun person. You are in an airship. This is set in like an alternate World War I kind of scenario. We have heavy steampunk vibes and influence. We've played other shooters like this, other side-scrolling shooters like this, but often they're kind of futuristic, space-like shooters.
Fish or they're you know
or
what?
fish-themed.
Hot B should have made that game because
I
they're
mean-
I know.
ships.
No,
Stayed
we
with
joke.
the
We did a fish themed shooter.
Yeah, that's what
That's what I'm
Nolan
saying.
said.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Whatever.
I thought it was
Gradius.
just a
Gra-
yeah.
No, that's Darius Twin.
Darius. I knew
The
it
Darius
was
series,
an ES.
yeah. This game. Well, here's a story.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay.
Welcome to the Age of Steel. It is AD 18XX.
They
Why
stole
would
that
they
from
do
Mega
that?
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Mega Man did that first.
The Motorhead Empire has conquered and enslaved the planet, yet one hope for freedom still remains. Steel remains.
The band Motorhead also.
The Republic of Silverhead. They alone have the will and the weapons to survive. Listen, stories don't matter in games like this, but there sure is a lot of it in this game.
Yeah, a lot for
Yeah.
a shmup, and the way they tell it to you is pretty stupid too.
Oh yeah, you're not going to be able to read it because
No,
you're going to
no,
have a
no.
seizure.
You
but
might be on the
it
floor.
is-
Yeah.
But there is a lot of it. In the manual that came with it, there's a fairly hefty section for the story itself. I don't know why they went so heavy on the story.
I mean, let's
don't
be real.
know.
This is a game that originated with Japanese developers. There's
You are always blaming it on the Japanese.
no. I mean,
I know, bro. What?
they have some tropey
Wow.
things that they do. I would be
Those
surprised
people?
if there wasn't
You
a
didn't say that.
anime or a manga. Manga. I can't even say it right.
A manga of Steel Empire. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's out there. I'm
What do you
sure
mean
it would
those
be
people?
heavy.
You'd read it.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, Japanese people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, because you even get some story bits in between stages in this game. Like, they really wanted you to know what was going on in this fake World War I scenario.
I will say straight up, this game feels like, not graphically, but in presentation sounds graphically, in gameplay, it feels really arcadey to me. I don't know if y'all got those vibes. It's not an arcade game. And I do think that probably side-scrolling shooters of this nature lean that direction anyways, but I just felt like gameplay largely certainly didn't feel like a GBA game. Sega Saturn, that makes sense, but arcade makes even more sense to me.
No, I think
Well, yeah,
that's
I
fair.
think it was originally supposed to... The project was supposed to be an arcade game originally, and then it progressed onto consoles and went through a bunch of iterations, so that makes sense.
I'm brilliant.
You are brilliant.
Quick reminder that the New Game Plus podcast is entirely supported by your contributions on Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can support your favorite retro gaming podcast and also get really cool perks like early access first plays, 2 entries into Patreon pools, unedited episodes, all kinds of cool stuff is on there. If you want to check it out, all you got to do is head on over to patreon.com/NGP podcasts. We so appreciate your support.
Gameplay.
That intro is garbage, and I briefly mentioned it, and you briefly mentioned it, but when they're telling you the story, they're trying to lean into the, like, aesthetic of this game, and it's there's no music, it's just, like, clicking noise, like an old school film being shown in a theater, like an old, right? And that's, Dustin, you even thought your emulator was broken, and I did too when I was watching the first play, but it's meant to be that way stylistically, but seriously, trying to ask someone to read that while flashing the screen constantly, flashing white. I'm glad you told me the story because I have no idea what's going on.
Well, I honestly stopped watching the in-between stage stories because one, the text scrolls fast. 2, they're using all the jargon that are like from your fantasy sci-fi books, so you don't know what the still head empire is. You don't know what all these things, and you don't care. Like and so with the flashing, it's just smash your buttons until you're able to get to the next part because it's horrendous.
And they just drop, like, character names. I also don't think it's the best translation either, because it sounds really sort of, like, not good English. At one point, I think it said something about trying to stop Sauron. Literally.
Sauron!
Oh, yeah! I think Sauron was in it.
And I was like, well, that's not this game. That's a whole different universe. There. Yeah, so the story is not what you're playing this game for.
Well, no, it's not, but it is worth pointing out that they obviously wanted this to be a different shmup experience from what people are used to playing. I think some shmups start with maybe a little intro thing, sure, but this, like, keeps you in that, and they're trying to tell a story on top of it, which I think convolutes the game a little bit. It's like, when I play a shmup, I'm turning my brain off to a degree, aren't y'all? Like, when you go to load these up, it's brain off sounds derogatory, but I that is the kind of game, though. It's not something I want to invest in.
Yeah, it is. The problem is that they are telling you that they're creating a story that is so, like, they're trying to create a story that is so deep, so layered. Again, I'm just going to refer back to, like, a book that you read, but without the time, without the investment, without the quality. In between, they've got this map that they're really wanting you to see the progression of how this empire is moving and what you're doing to stop them. I don't think, like, it's a bad idea. Honestly, I think it's the implementation. I'm fine with a little bit of story in some of these things. Even a map could have been cool and if you could have chose certain routes, like, that's in some of the Darius games that we played where, and it's kind of like Star Fox, right? That you're always going to get to the same location, but you can maybe take the different planets. If they would have done something along those lines to make you take part in the decisions or in the unfolding drama, but the story's just not what I'm playing this for, and there was a lot of it, and it wasn't good, the story that was there, unless when they bring Lord of the Rings into it.
And they could have given you even more reason to pay attention to those story beats. In fact, I think they tried to do this and then didn't do it very well.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that you've got some choices to make strategically in this game. having some like hints as to like which character you should select for the upcoming scenario so that there's a reason to pay attention to the story or something along those lines would have been a great idea. And maybe they even tried to do that sort of a little bit here, but
If
not
they did,
really.
they failed. Yeah, because that's a good idea. Kenny is cryptically hinting at the fact that when you go into any stage, you are given an option. Your option is between two different airships. You have the Striker, this sleek ship that is known for its speed, its quickness. It's got front and rear missiles, front and rear air-to-ground missiles. Or you can pick your Z01 Zeppelin, which is a chunky girl. All right, solid, resilient, more strength.
It's a blimp. Excuse my language.
What do you mean those people?
I think specifically it's called a Zeppelin, but yeah, you can call it a blimp.
Same
I guess.
diff.
Not. It's got front and rear missiles as well, front and rear upward firing aerial mines, which is important. It does things differently, but they do operate differently than one another. The bigger one has more health. That's not what it's called here.
Called vitality.
But it does move slower. And some of its attack does more upward attacks. The bombs that are thrown, I don't want to use bombs, but some of the grenades, whatever. And the sleeker one obviously moves a lot faster, has less vitality, and is better at ground attacks. So I do agree with you, Kenny. That would have been a really cool way to like infuse. And I think you're right. They may have tried to do some of this. They just did it poorly. But like they could have said, they could have had a little bit of setup to where you're about to go into, what kind of battle you're about to go into, what kind of environment you're about to be in. And that give you a clue as to probably what is the best ship to use. And then, but what they didn't do is design the stages then in a way largely that makes it matter.
You can feel the difference in some ways, but it's fairly negligible. They're both a pretty similar style of play. Again, the one is a little bit faster, the other one's a little bit, healthier, whatever. But the gameplay is pretty much the same. If the power-ups like deviated more strongly or their special attacks were unique or something so that there was some strategy here, it would have felt a little bit more meaningful. But as it is, you got this blimp and then you got just a normal like biplane. Well, I guess just plane. It's not two wings. And
steam powered plane.
Yeah, steam plane.
The way they did design it though is a little different than what you might expect too. And Dustin, you did not like it in your first play, so I'm curious to see how that may have changed or didn't during the week. But you're going horizontal, as we said, and you can also turn around and shoot behind you, which doesn't happen too often. What do you mean?
No, you're not turning around.
You're just shooting behind you.
You're just shooting behind you.
Well, you don't turn around and start going left. That's not what I meant.
Functionally, it doesn't matter. The scrolling is the same, but your avatar doesn't flip. You just shoot bullets out your butt. And
some shmups do, by default, just start shooting behind you when you get enough power-ups or something. But in this one, you have to deliberately say, I want to start shooting things behind me.
It's literally a separate button.
Yeah. And that is a bit uncomfortable at first, especially on this screen. Like the GBA screen is a handheld screen, and it can get pretty busy in this game. So I don't know how I feel about it.
Understatement.
Yeah, so you've got A and B on your GBA. A fires forward and B fires backwards. You can hold them, and it's a rapid shot, so that's nice. But you cannot hold them at the same time, because if you do, you're shooting nothing.
Well, sure, because then your bullets it's physics. They're both going out at the same time. And
You'd be stuck in air?
They cancel each other out. And A is ahead and B is backwards, obviously.
That's
so clear.
They knew that they knew that the player would try to do that, and so we're like, let's just make it so that nothing happens. Haha.
Right. No, which is bad because, like you said, Nolan, in many games like this, you end up getting to shoot backwards or you have no reason to shoot backwards. But I will say, they did a lot of the stage design, enemy design, boss designs centered on this behind and forward kind of action.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
bosses, yes. I didn't feel that with the stages. I honestly felt that I was shooting forward most of the time because it takes a lot. Like, even for me, I'm pretty good at multitasking. It takes a lot to like worry about both, even in this game where they design it that way. And so I think the boss fights, yes, they design it that way, but I was just shooting forward.
There are enemies that come on the left and the right. There are a few stages where your ship does turn around and you have to flee out the left. Like, there is one kind of standout stage where I think it's after you fight a boss, you've been going left to right the whole time, something explodes, and then your ship turns around, and
You're
while
booking it.
wall of flame comes behind you, you're having to go left, dot in these very tight environments, by the way, while boulders are falling down, while fire is coming behind you, while enemies that are left over are still trying to attack you. But B at that point is what? Boreward, Kenny? How does that work alphabetically?
I'll come up with it. B at that
All right.
point is
I'll give you some
Be
time.
right back.
deck.
Be right back. Anyway, do y'all remember that stage?
Yeah,
That was
of course.
or that area. It was frustrating.
It was
'cause
awful.
I was dying a lot on the escape,
Yeah.
but I think it's stylistically creative.
The concept was
Yeah.
great. The execution was a little too, I don't know, Battletoadsy. It was hard and fast, and you were going to take damage like no matter what. And it like concept was good, execution was B.
Which stands for Boreward.
I feel like the enemies aren't too spongy in this game, which is often a complaint of mine in these kinds of games, because you kind of can't do that with the brief time that they're on the screen because of how small the screen is. The bosses are kind of an exception to that, but going through the stages, like, it felt kind of fair. But that was my concern as the game progressed. I thought they were going to up difficulty by making things more spongier, and maybe they do some, but if you're keeping your power-ups, like if you have like quite a bit of power-ups, then you get a pretty wide shot, which I appreciated. But man, shmups, no.
Don't besmirch shmups just in general.
I mean, every time they roll
Wow.
around though, like it's never different.
Nolan's a hater.
Okay.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, exactly. Kenny, don't do a hand symbol like you're going to say
Symbol?
something and then not say something.
I was going to, and I don't remember what, so I gave
He
up.
bailed.
Yep.
Then don't
He
ever put
bailed.
no. And now you're about to do it without a hand symbol?
No, I'm moving on.
Okay.
We talked about it a little bit, or implied it rather, but we didn't overtly discuss it. Unlike a lot of shmups, this is not one-hit kills, which is super important given the way this game functions and was designed.
Kenny
You've
means
got-
for your own ship.
Yeah, you've got a health bar. So you've got the ability to take... I mean, I guess it sort of depends how much damage you take. I don't feel like everything that hit you for the same amount, which is actually kind of great. But you've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 hits before you die, in most cases. And that's a little different than some of this genre, but like super welcome and fits here, I think, with what they were going for.
Yeah, and you get drops along the way that can replenish some of that vitality.
Yep.
And they're very clear that what they are. It's a giant heart instead of just a flashing red box or something. Some of
Sure.
those games didn't
That's
take
true.
the time to tell you that.
And that's great when you're clear about what you are. Like the P for your power up is awesome. The B for your bomb is awesome. The heart for your health is awesome. The money for not money, and it doesn't do anything, and no one knows what it's for, but it certainly isn't money.
Which
Kind of
would
breaks
be
the
great
combo.
if you could
I was just
purchase
thinking that.
upgrades in between stages or
Absolutely.
something like that.
Or had to repair
or
yourself.
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or purchase
anything.
lives.
But yeah,
or, pay a spy to
money's-
go ahead and sabotage one of the bosses, remove one of their guns or something. Like, there's so many ways
Kenny's
you could
always got
implement
ideas.
That is a
spending
good
money
idea.
in a game like this. So many ways.
Yeah, but no, it's just score. There is the HUD up top. Did y'all feel that was overwhelming? Like,
Crowded?
there's so much information up there. It's crowded. And think about, again, a GBA screen.
Yeah, it's crowded, but honestly, the only thing you really need to worry about is the health bar, in my opinion. There are maybe your bomb count, but it's crowded, but
felt
it's
like
fine.
I thought it looked nice enough. It does lean kind of arcadey. We already talked about this game kind of having that feel. I think it has that vibe a little bit. They could have done it where it was less a bar and more something just like over your
see,
screen.
I like
but with
that.
so
I
much
don't
going on the screen, you would have lost it. Like, you couldn't have done that.
Yeah, I like that it's not an overlay. I like that it's sectioned off and the gameplay has its own like area. I like it.
I don't mind it being a HUD up there or whatever, but I do think it was overwhelming. I don't think it's just vitality that's important. Obviously, you're tracking your bombs, your lives maybe, but your upgrade level. That's a key component here that not every other game shows you. You kind of just see it in the state of your ship. But in this one, you actually upgrade levels, and you've got experience. And so you gain experience. It's actually little tokens that you gain, and they add one experience each time that you gain one. And the first few levels, I think, are just 2 experience each. So you'll be 0 out of 2. You gain 2. You go from level 1 to level 2, and then from level 2 to level 3, of course. I think all the way up to maybe 7. Like, you get deep up there where it takes like 6 experience tokens to be able to upgrade again. But what I will say, after the first few upgrades where you get a wider spread and you get those top ships and the bottom ships, I don't know if they're technically ships, but what you often get in these that also like shoot out missiles, I didn't feel like I continued, and I'm sure that I continued to get powerful, but there was nothing that was demonstrated on the screen that, like, there was no change in the color of my beams, which sometimes games do. There was no more spread after it did its full spread. There were no more of those little mini ships that were hovering around me. There was no barrier, which is sometimes done. So I don't know. I felt like after you're, level 3, you don't really see or sense or feel much of the upgrade anymore.
Yeah, I thought the power-up design in
point.
general was a little weak.
Yeah.
I always prefer on these games, too. I think, Dustin, you tend to be the same person as well. I prefer when you have some, like, flavors of power-up as well. Not just, like, one track, but, like, hey,
Like
I
a
can work on,
flamethrower versus
having a laser, or I can work on a spread, or I can work on a, and then there's a little bit of that sort of strategy of, I know there's a boss coming up that works a lot better if I get the missiles, and let's make sure we get them and hold on to them, as opposed to just, like, we're just going to power up and do our best and that's it, and oh, cool, we can also shoot off the back. Great.
Yeah, I think either can work if done well. I just think this one was not really done well. I don't hate the idea, experience levels, upgrades, but it just was implemented poorly. Like, I think that might be an underlying theme for me just in general with almost everything about this game. I think the idea is not a bad one. I think the implementation is not great. Can we talk about bosses? We've mentioned them a few times.
Yeah, let's. They're not fish.
They're not. Sure, they're not fish. They're typically these massive ships, and if you get late enough in the game, it rotates and you fight them all over again.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but I did see it that you can do that.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that they repeated bosses. That feels a little lazy. The boss design was so good that I welcomed that. Like, it was a variety and a ton of different things. And Dustin, you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the backwards shooting, but like worked really well about making bosses that force you to do the mechanics of the game, which is really smart. So I thought the bosses were great, but recycling all of them and making you kind of just play all of them once or twice or a few of them like a few different times was a little bit of a letdown for me.
I liked them overall. I like that they're those big behemoth ships, and they did a good job of keeping them on brand for the steampunk vibe that they were going for. I thought they did a good job of hit detection when you actually hit weak points. That's another complaint sometimes I have, but it was very clear what to focus on and when I was damaging it. I like them. The issue is they're so hulking on that portable screen, and it can work, and does, but I just felt crowded and claustrophobic in this game. That might be a good word for it most of the time.
Claustrophobic is a great word. Yeah.
Especially in the boss fights. But overall, yeah, I think they did a good job with them.
Bosses, but some of the worlds too. There's places, and I know it's trying to like force you to navigate, and that's great, but there's places where you are given very, very little room. Sometimes there's only like, I don't know, 5% of the screen that you can even exist in and like do a thing for some phase of a boss or some like
like they'll
traveling
trap you in like
somewhere.
a section
Yeah,
briefly, and you
were
have to make
big
sure you don't
enough.
get hit.
Nolan, you mentioned it a couple times. I feel like this game would have just been a little better if they just shrunk everything a little bit. So there was more room to move, more room to dodge things. It was all so big and all so moving that it was lots of clutter and lots of overlap. And it wasn't always even clear to me which things you were or weren't allowed to touch, because you'd do things like you'd like kill a boss and then it would become dead, but you wouldn't realize it, and you'd like fly in front of it, but you don't know when that starts and when that ends.
Yep.
So there was just some weird sort of jankiness about what's going on that I wish was a little clearer.
All of that's true. I agree with everything. My only other complaint with the bosses are I do feel like they are spongy, like very spongy. You are spending it felt like 5 minutes on a boss, which is a long time in a game like this.
Certain bosses,
but I mean, part of me doesn't hate that. Like, make it a boss fight if you're gonna make it a boss fight.
They were boss fights.
You could unleash all of your bombs, not your grenades, your special bombs.
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 of them at a time, and not have killed the boss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Only be like 40% of the way through the boss fight after blowing all of your super, super, super strong weapons. They were pretty spongy.
Which is kind of a big contrast to the rest of the stage that you came from. Because I said earlier, I feel like the rest of the stage is quite balanced when it comes to that. And then you get to the boss and spend a lot of time on it. So I get that critique.
Aged.
We already whined about the strobing effect, so I won't beat that horse too bad. But I will say that was awful, and some of the text itself was poorly done. But beyond that, I thought the vibe that they were going for of like, this is not just like a game, but you're watching the like movie of this story that is happening, was creative. It matched the steampunk aesthetic rather, and just like, I thought the look of the game outside of those things was actually pretty well done.
I agree. I think actually it's very good visually. The bosses are extremely detailed. I already mentioned that, but they fit the theme, and they like made them look really, really distinct. I think a lot of the backgrounds, like you're scrolling, and so you get that effect, and I think they pulled that off too. And this is on handheld, so it's really good, like pixel art for GBA. And I'm not a steampunk guy. I don't like that trope. Most of the time, it's just never appealed to me. But in this case, like it didn't bother me. It was just kind of they pulled it off. Like, yeah, it was flavor and
worked well.
Good visuals, really good visuals.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think it's GBA peak. We've seen really, really good and detailed, but it's completely, it's more than serviceable. It's what you would want in a game like this on the console. Genesis graphics don't look bad by any by any means like the Genesis version of this, but it does look duller, less detailed, less layered. This one on the GBA has brighter colors, more detail, more depth, lots of parallax scrolling, which if done well looks good, and you experience that. Like I always love, like in this one, there's one particular stage where throughout the stage, I think you've got a friendly ship in the far distance that's firing on some of the ships that you're facing and going at different speed than you and everything, and that always feels good, feels epic. But small screen, guys, we've got to remember that. So like,
it really is.
You know, we're probably playing it a little bit magnified if we're doing it with emulation. All of that shrunk down to a very small screen. It brings me back to the complaint that I've had that Kenny has kind of voiced a lot. It is very and Nolan, you said not congested, but
claustrophobic.
Whatever, claustrophobic. My goodness, guys, like there's so much going on the screen that one, you do experience some slowdown on the GBA, which I'm not used to. So slow down when there's a lot of bullets, and just you are very cluttered, and
especially when you get the two ships that follow you on the top and bottom of you, it makes it feel even worse. Like it makes your ship feel this big on the screen.
And the thing that's frustrating about it is that it creates moments that I feel are unfair, where you are like, I'm all about dodging, you know, but when you can't make out that, Kenny, your point that the ship is dead or where it starts or where it begins, or you can't make out what are bullets, guys, especially when you're firing. The majority of my deaths were because I didn't even know that that a bullet was coming my direction, because they don't all look the same from all the different ships.
Yeah. I just looked up the Genesis version. I think it looks better.
Ooh,
I know you're saying
I've heard people say that. It's not as detailed.
It looks better. No, but I think it would be more fair in that regard that you're talking about, where I think you'd be able to see what's happening because, one, it's not a handheld screen. Which is the reason, like that's it, right? It's because it's on this tiny little screen, but it just looks like a little more balanced, and there's just more space on the screen. I don't know. I think it looks really good, really good.
You definitely have
Genesis.
more space. Yeah. So the steampunk didn't add anything to you, Nolan, but it didn't take away anything you said at the end of the day?
No. I actually enjoyed the visuals a lot, and normally I would just kind of roll my eyes, but the backdrops are really impressive here.
Yeah, I think the art style in general works well, and I agree, Nolan. I was also most impressed with the foreground-background combination and how those played together. It just looked really polished on that front.
I enjoy steampunk aesthetic just in general, and so I think they did well with it, and it adds a little bit for me. But I'm always like, have a little twist here. The aesthetic that I'm not necessarily for in these is just military, like World War I, World War II. That doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Right. So make it space, make it futuristic, make it steampunk, and that always brings it up a notch for me.
Yeah.
Music here. How did you feel the music was?
Forgettable. It's fine. But forgettable.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad, but I wasn't like blown away. I thought they did a serviceable job. I would have loved a like main tune or melody or something that was a little more hooky, a little more just sort of like interesting. But I don't have anything negative to say either. I felt like the balance of like music versus sound effects were nice. I felt like the sound effects worked well and matched what was going on the screen. So I don't know, like fine. Good.
Yeah, I thought good. I agree that I don't remember any of them, but I think completely fits, and it was good. It was not distracting. It was what you would want in something like this. Yep. The game was ported to Switch in 2022. It's the same game. Actually, I think it's a collection of some of these kinds of games. But the version of Steel Empire on the Switch has updated graphics, an updated soundtrack, updated UI. I think
that's on Steam as well, I think.
Okay, is that the version that's on Steam? Because I think that's probably the more definitive version today to play.
Looks great.
It's Genesis upgraded, updated. It's GBA upgraded. Like, they took the best of all the worlds and modernized it a little bit, which is a surprise that they invested time and energy and attention to doing that in 2022.
You know what they did, I'm noticing on those versions? You know how it said the HUD was cluttered? it's now like on the left,
Yep.
top, and right. So they just spread it out, which I respect. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, graphics look good. Music looks good. Or music sounds good. It's definitely a pretty impressive port, I think. It's not a series, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think
It's hard
series,
to say
but
because there's so many different versions, or not so many, but
maybe
there are a
that's
lot
what
of
it
different
is.
Teams.
Because I was quite I had in my notes that it's not a series, but then I was questioning myself because on the Switch version, I believe there's like 4 or 5 different games, but I think they're all somewhat versions of this game. Like I think
weird.
it's all. There was a sequel that was planned, but then I think that it didn't ever come out. I think that's the Burning Steel is what it was going to be by Hot B, but it didn't end up being made. If you want a copy of Steel Empire for your GBA, it is going to run you $80 loose, $224 complete in box, $447 new.
What?
Yikes.
Yep. The Genesis cart is still expensive, but not near as bad. But then you can, play on Switch or PC today for a lot less than that.
Right.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status, which is our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. My name is Dustin, and I do not give Steel Empire my vote for New Game Plus status because it's not good. At the end of the day, it is what I said earlier. It's trying a lot of things that I do appreciate. The implementation almost every single time is either subpar or bad. Kenny has developed a few tweaks in this episode that would have made it so much better and not even required much more of them. You gave us 2 ships. I love that. Not every game gives you 2 ships. They function pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And so that there wasn't enough difference between them. The leveling system. I love the idea of having a leveling system with experience. I'm a JRPG boy, right? Like, give me some experience and give me levels. There wasn't enough transformation and changes that made it matter after a few levels. I think all of that smashed down onto the Genesis, onto the GBA, just makes it a negative experience for me. It was brutally difficult this week. Part of it was because of the game, but part of it was because of the screen size and because of the graphics not being able to tell what was even happening in any given moment. I think there's a good game here somewhere. It could have been. And the Genesis version, I still think has some of these complaints. It might have been the better experience, but I still don't know if I would have given it my vote for New Game Plus status. But with Steel Empire for the GBA, I certainly do not. Not almost there, but almost could have been a good game, and they just missed it.
I'll go next. I almost wonder, Dustin, if the Genesis version is amazing. Because
Interesting.
if it's not packed into the handheld screen, and maybe they implemented some of those things better, I don't know if they did, or if it's more or less the same game, I'm not sure, but I am curious to know how it plays because I agree with you. You're a shmup guy, so you know better than both of us on what is a good one and what's not one. This one's just so obviously not. I say obviously, it's kind of like visually really impressive. And just kind of, there's so many things about it that I do like or want to like. But when you're playing the game, it's like anxiety the whole time. It's like, it just, Kenny said they should have shrunk everything maybe a little bit and solved half the issues. Maybe that's it. I just can't give it New Game Plus because, I didn't like it that much, right? It's almost there. I think it looks good. And I do like that it's not just military. I think that's great and kind of sadly rare in this genre. It's either military or aliens, right? But in this case, it's a unique thing. Not vibing with the story, but no.
That's true. So, Kenny, your opinion doesn't matter, but I'd love to hear it.
Matters to me.
It never actually matters, but hopefully people like to hear it. That's the whole idea. I think I like this game more than you guys. I don't know how much more, but you both come across fairly negative. I thought there were some good things to, appreciate. The look, some of the gameplay concepts were close. I think both of you were right. It's got way more potential than it actually hit. I don't think this is a bad game. However, I do think that the novelty of it and the things that it does well don't outweigh the annoyance of it or some of the things that it does poorly. And so all in all, it's not quite there for me. The thing that sealed it for me, though, as a for sure no in GP, because I was kind of back and forth and liking some things and hating some things, is when your ship, which is very obviously an airplane or a blimp, a Zeppelin, call it whatever you want, a in the atmosphere flying vehicle gets launched into space and you're still flying around like no big deal. Like that can work. No NGP. Stupid. Put some rocket boosters on me or something. Engage your brain. It's not
How
hard.
do you like fantasy as a genre? You love fantasy books, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, sure. I can suspend disbelief if you give me a good reason to and a good framework for why I should. That's the whole concept. Build it, sell it, make it real. Regardless, that's very side-ish. No NGP, not quite good enough. Tons of potential, doesn't deliver.
Steel Empire is not New Game Plus certified, but what did you think? On our YouTube poll, 12% said yes, it's worth playing today. 6% said no, go play something else. 82% have never played it before.
Oof. That's a lot that haven't played it.
Many from our community played along with us this week, so more played it this week than probably the last 20 years combined. And
You're welcome.
they sent in their thoughts on the retro game of the week. Conan said, Steel Empire is 60% of the way to being able to spell shmup. Steel Empire won't steal my time.
But will it steal your heart?
Bro Jim said, very little of the shmup genre speaks to me. They always strike me as something I pumped a few quarters in, died a million times, and walked away from without having seen anything past stage 2. This game actually got a legit completion. That's not
Why'd
true.
you stop reading?
Because
It
you
is
said
true.
something crazy.
It is true.
This game actually got a legit completion from me on easy with max lives and credit. I loved the GBA chunky sprites and the setting, as well as the fact that you could shoot down missiles and such. The end did get a bit samey with repeated large ships, and of course it ends in space, but I still had fun. I have to give it NGP. It's not a AAA game, but I'd play this over something like Super R-Type any day.
Super R-Type. That sounds familiar. I'm surprised that you finished this game if you don't like shmups normally.
Also, how? Because it's not easy.
No, it's
but
well. He did play on easy, but it's still not. It's like crazy.
I think easy just gives you more lives or, more vitality. I don't know, but yeah, remarkable. Hey Brother 45 said, I genuinely love shmups, but this one, Nolan does too, but this one feels relatively generic on the GBA. There's nothing here that's going to make it stand out amongst the thousands of other options people have in this genre. The small screen size and flickering graphics put the final nail in the no NGP coffin. Play any of the much better shmups instead.
See, I can agree with that. And no, I do not like shmups. He's lying.
I wonder what the best shmups are on the GBA.
I do too. I probably don't know one of them, actually, because
you know GBA, but you don't know shmups, huh?
Nope, that's correct. So I bet there's probably a good one.
Steel Empire is on this list, an overlooked GBA release in the U.S.
You definitely said Steel Umpire like it's a baseball game.
There's no
I'd play
way
that.
I said umpire.
I'd play that. A
for
robot
certain.
umpire?
Team Babo said, overall aesthetic is great, but I never really succeeded at dodging bullets since the contrast between the foreground and background is non-existent, so the game didn't really feel fair to me. I did find it neat how there were two different ships I could play as, though. No NGP for me, but probably worth a shot if you are into shoot 'em ups.
Okay, so we're not crazy. I'm always anxious to see, how
I'll give
people
one
land
more.
on.
Flumbus, our very own, said, I played the Mega Drive version primarily this week, which made a decent first impression and a brief second one. That's a really good thing, because I do think this game makes a good first impression.
It does.
And just a worse second one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the charm of its steampunk vibes, the large boss enemies, and the twist of the usual shooter control schemes by having separate buttons to fire forward and backwards. However, the repetition and lack of weapon variety meant that the fun was pretty short-lived. Could have been a decent rental back in the day, but there are far stronger representations of the game on the console. It sure is no Thunder Force 4, and I'd certainly struggle to call it essential. The GBA release took everything the Mega Drive game did well and made it worse by killing visibility in favor of bigger, prettier, yet somehow uglier, unnecessarily friendly looking sprites that detract from the vibe while also cramming it into the handheld format with a tiny screen. No NGP.
There's our proof.
Perfect.
Like, I knew it. I knew the Genesis one's probably great.
Yeah. But it's funny because we were just talking about other good shmups on, well, not other, good shmups on the GBA, and Flumbus said, what was it?
Yeah.
Thunder
He dropped
Force
one?
4. Thunder
Well, okay,
Force
I'm gonna
4. I don't know if
check that out.
Flumbus was actually talking about for the Mega Drive or for the GBA.
I'll tell you right now in 3, 2, 1.
All right. Mega Drive.
In 3, 2, 1.
Mega Drive.
Mega Drive.
Mega
Mega
Drive.
Drive.
For now, we're setting aside Steel Empire, and we are randomly selecting the next game of the week, 15 years old or older. Any console, any genre, randomizing now. Is the GameCube purple?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to also tell you the predominant color on the front of the box art, and then you can guess the game from there.
Okay.
Spyro.
We got these are the things we're switching up in the 10th year.
Yeah, this is new.
In the predominant color, I'd say gray.
Gray. No chance. Not even going to guess.
This is a role-playing video game developed by Intelligent Systems, published by Nintendo. I believe it's the second of the sub-series, and I don't know, the 12th of the large series that we're playing. It's crazy that it's randomized. We are playing a game called Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
It's gray? I thought that was like a orangish, brownish.
The background looks a lot of gray. There's cloud. I don't know. Listen.
Boys?
Yes? Are we in for a
You're
treat?
in for a treat. Let me tell you.
Which
I have a
Paper Mario did we play?
Super Paper Mario, I think, on the Wii.
Okay.
And I loved
is this
it.
better?
Y'all didn't. Yes, this is the best one in the series. I'll fight anybody who says different.
Okay. Are we going to be 2D in a 3D environment? Or no, it's just 2D?
Yeah,
What are
yeah,
we
yeah.
doing?
I mean, you're a piece of paper in a
Alright.
3D looking. It's great. I have a copy, but
It's fun.
my
Is there
GameCube's
an-
broken?
Is there a group of aliens in this game called the X-Nauts?
I think so. Yeah.
Quit spoiling things by trying to be funny.
Trying to be.
Find a copy of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door and play it along with us for the next 7 days.
1,000 years. Discord.gg/NGP podcast. Join it.
You can also go to patreon.com and support your favorite retro gaming podcast with your dollars. You'll be like Dr. Jason Tharp, who became a patron for us this week for the first time. Thank
Great
you, good doctor. Thank you to our director level supporters as well, Brojim, Sasser, Tins, and Siegfried. You are the steel in our empire. Why do I do the things I do? And to our many producer level supporters as well, including Alex, Marlena, Antonin, Ben, Champagne, Vinaigrette, Craig, Dagony, Flombus, Garlisle, Hallex, Harold, Hey Brother, J. Robert, Jake, Jordan, Justin, Caldaka, Clen, Lapinius, Landris, Levi, Maxima, Megatroid, Miss Muso, Not Enough Dog, Red Max, Sage and Scotty, Shane, Shauna, Snigmatic, Spinny the Jet, Super Hyper, and Swaggy Taco Fish, Psycho Manus, Thomas, Tim of the T, Unbedavable, Zachary, and Zion. Thank you so much for your support.
You can follow us on our social media. That is Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Links are in the show notes. Listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to get new MGP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. Our episode artwork was created by our friend Dave. Our video episode was edited by our friend Dylan. Audio episode was edited and produced by our friend Dan Willett. Join us next week as we play Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door. Until then, I'm still Steel.
I'm also that.
I'm still.
And this has been a semi-decent episode of New Game Plus.